Well, it's that time of year again. After the very sad and eventful year that was 2020, this time around, we're not dealing with the newly arrived viral pandemic, though we are still certainly in it. We've adjusted to this lifestyle now for an entire year, and companies have found ways to hold events and keep their businesses moving despite our circumstances. Things aren't perfect, but are probably as good as they can be for now as we continue to progress through this. However, on a happier note, we'll be having E3 this year. The official Twitter announced it yesterday, and now Nintendo says they'll be showing up as well. The presentation is on June 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 noon Eastern Time. The event will be Nintendo Direct style with around 40 minutes of info focused on Nintendo Switch software, most of which will be releasing in 2021. After the Direct, we'll have a whopping 3 hours of Nintendo Treehouse Live. Do you smell that? It smells like KingdomAce making another wishlist video with Sonic in it. So strap in, you beautiful people, and let me tell you a bunch of stuff that probably isn't going to show up. If you're excited for this, let me know by liking the video and subscribing for more. It would mean the world to me as we're so close to 11K, so let's hit it before E3. Sonic Rangers. This one is kinda obvious. It was recently announced with more info coming soon. I know there's still Summer Game Fest, but the info we'll be getting there I think is going to be things like knickknacks, toys, and t-shirts. But I do think they'll be announcing that SEGA will be at E3 in some way, which leads into Sonic Rangers. The game had one of the most ambiguous reveals for the series in a very long time. Even Sonic Forces had more to go on. So I feel they wanted to give us what they did for two reasons. One, to build hype for Sonic's 30th anniversary. It's important to know that what we desire does actually exist, hence why we were shown Sonic Rangers without having actually seen it, if you catch my drift. With the reveal of Sonic Rangers at the 30th anniversary event, it made the gaming community have all eyes on Sonic, and while the gaming news is plentiful this time of year, when it's something highly anticipated, regardless of how it's presented, it sticks with people. SEGA knows we want to see more Sonic Rangers at E3, which is why they showed it off how they did. They stand to gain more by teasing us as minimally as possible and then going full throttle with exactly what we wanted all along at the biggest gaming event of the year. Yeah, we'll see our new Call of Duties and Battle Royales, but Sonic the Hedgehog has a weight behind it many series can't claim to have. And yes, even with Sonic's rough patches, it doesn't really matter what we go through or how disappointed we get. The hope for a great new Sonic game never dies. We'll still anticipate the new one even if it's a cautious optimism. For this reason, I'm positive Sonic Rangers will show up at E3. Although I have a feeling Rangers was just a temporary name for the game, so I think it'll have a finalized name for us at its true reveal. I'm so positive it's going to be there that I'm willing to literally eat my PlayStation 5 if I'm wrong. I will whip up a barbecue, put it on a bun, and eat it like a chili dog. Yeah, I'm looking at you, SEGA. Get that trailer ready. So stepping aside for a little bit, let's get some other hopes out of the way so I can stick the landing at the end of this video for probably my biggest desire to see at E3. So let's continue with the 3D Zelda collection. Our 3D Zelda collection is kind of obvious for this one for anyone who knows me. I want one of these so badly. I'm kind of disappointed with how the 3D All-Stars for Mario was executed, but it's strange. I somehow have this feeling that for the past 20 years at least, Nintendo has treated Zelda better than Mario. I'm not too sure why that is, especially with Mario being the poster boy for the company, but if anything, I shouldn't question it and just take it as the hungry Zelda fanatic I am. I don't want to go too deep into which ones I want included in that collection, as I do have a video with full in-depth thoughts on that coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But I'll say this, the series has so many games to choose from, so many that deserve a place on the Switch just as much as any other. It also has numerous underrated titles that could really use a full-out remaster included in the collection. Mainly so that it can have a brand new life breathe into them with this kind of direction. Though let's be real here, this is Nintendo, so this probably isn't going to happen. But my faith in the collection in general is very strong. Though it is strange that we haven't seen one actually announced yet, but I'm sure before year's end we'll be playing 3 new Zelda games on our Switch, and yes, excluding Skyward Sword. Next up is Mario Kart 9, and man, why has Nintendo not released this yet? I know it's hard to plan ahead and nobody really expected a global pandemic last year, but if they played their cards right in 2017 through 2020, they could have doubled down last year with Animal Crossing for the summer and Mario Kart for the winter holidays. It could have been a huge double whammy, especially with the multiplayer capabilities of both games. Animal Crossing is fun, but we also need a more intense multiplayer experience from Nintendo. And sure, yes, there is Smash, but come on, the online? I'm not one to complain about Smash often, as I have an immense respect for the series and what being in Smash represents. But I'm not really looking for Smash when I want a consistently good online experience. Mario Kart 9 with returning characters alongside totally new ones from other franchises is exactly what this repetitive series needs. Sure, mechanics shift and maps rotate, but if I'm honest, Mario Kart needs a drastic change if they want the next game to land well, especially after half a decade of playing the same game. We've had the same singular title since the Wii U days, and I put hundreds of hours in the game, but with barely any new DLC, hardly any new maps, no new characters really, how do you expect to keep a multiplayer game alive like that? Tournaments aren't everything, you know? So I want to see characters like Simon from Castlevania, Captain Falcon from F-Zero, Sonic of course. I want to see Paper Mario in one of these carts, the whole shebang. Basically, what Nintendo does for Smash, I want it done for Mario Kart. And it's not like they're not willing. They dip their toes in that kind of thing for Mario Kart 8 with villagers and Link being present. Sure, that's only first party characters, but with how well Mario Kart sells, you're telling me a business can't see potential in that? Not saying Nintendo makes the best choices, but they're not stupid. The company wouldn't have lasted over 100 years if they were. I need 75% new tracks and 25% old ones. Yes, it's nice to have old tracks, but again, what I feel Mario Kart needs the most right now is new and refreshing experiences. I really like the anti-gravity mechanic of Mario Kart 8, but we need something new. Maybe a day-night mechanic added? Sure, but I want more. Maybe some kind of dimension hopping mechanic. Say we're driving around the course as normal, and when somebody gets the switch item, using it switches the entire course and is level designed so it completely changes how the other laps go. Granted, there's gotta be limitations, but Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing transformed to something similar with each lap being different and needing different vehicle types for each lap since the course design would change. That game feels fun every time I play it because it's a really inventive mechanic. This Mario Kart 9 mechanic doesn't have to be a dimension hopping thing, it could just be teleporting everyone to a different place entirely, or even time travel showing different eras of the same course. Then if somebody else gets the item, it'll switch us to a third different one, and again if somebody gets the item again, it'll simply rotate between the three. Yeah, it sounds like work, but I'm gonna hope that work is what they've been doing all these years of us waiting. Next one up is a new 2D Metroid, and if the leaks are real, we will be seeing this one at E3. There's tons of things that could be done, but I want a 2D Metroid more than I want news about Prime 4, because the Prime games is just a kind of Metroid I don't prefer. They're well-designed games, but Metroid in my head has always been games like Super Metroid, Fusion, Zero Mission, games like that. But I do genuinely want to see a trailer for Prime 4. It's been quite a while since the project restarted, so I'd love an update. But going back to 2D Metroid, I'd like it to follow Metroid Fusion's story. I want to see completely new planets, maybe have two for us to explore, and have a whole new alien race for us to hunt during it. And though it would continue after the story of Fusion, I'd want the design philosophy of Super Metroid. Linearity is something I can personally appreciate in Metroid, but let's be real here, non-linearity is what makes this series hit so hard. And there's no hitting harder than brand new experiences with brand new places and brand new collectible suits with new effects that'll help our exploration of these never before seen planets. I want a new arsenal full of weapons and tools that make traversal even more fluid than series past. I want the potential for sequence breaking to be as high as it is in Super Metroid. I don't want it to be extremely easy, in fact I want it to require skill, but I want it to where it doesn't take long to gain that kind of skill, so it encourages replaying the game. It's hard to go in depth with this kind of game when talking about potential, so I guess I'll leave it at that. I still really hope it shows up. Now it was really hard to pick this next spot, but I really think it's time for Kirby to take his big leap into a fully 3D traditional game. I wanted to completely rework the formula for how levels are designed, similarly how Mario did back on the N64. But though I say this, what I mean by that, I still think the rework Nintendo should aim for is a similar style as Super Mario Galaxy. Have Kirby explore different planets in an attempt to reach someone who stole his food and fled to the far reaches of space. This leads Kirby to different planets, going from stage to stage exploring them for our food stealing bad guy. Though it would still have the usual getting to the end kind of design, but can still be injected with the light puzzle solving Kirby has always had, but in an open style utilizing Kirby's abilities. However, as a 3D game, the potential to break it with Kirby's endless flight is too great. So making it a limited flight is basically a necessity. With brand new enemies found on the various planets, we can get at least 20 new copy abilities, I feel, just to reinforce the big step they're taking with this game. I think for mini games though, we can get some shorter Link stages that resemble past Kirby games, and you can race through them with AI opponents or online with friends, going all Sonic Rival style except good and less rubber banding. Now I've only got a couple major ones left, so let's get some shorter ones rapidly out of the way real quick. Though I do want to say, even if it's included here, I still desperately want it, maybe even as much as the things I already said. It's just here because it's either extremely unlikely, I didn't have a whole book to write on it, I just wanted those other things more, and because I didn't think of some of these things until I outlined the others already. But here we go. I want a port or sequel to Kid Icarus Uprising. This is kind of a given. The 3DS game was awesome, and I feel the movement for that game can easily translate to motion controls for the Joy-Con, but at the same time, I feel it can translate just fine to regular controls with a Pro Controller, thanks to one analog stick letting us move, and the other one aiming the reticle and camera. This fits perfectly, and I won't hear otherwise. Odyssey 2, I'd love to see. It's been almost 4 years, Nintendo. Please tell me you have an Odyssey sequel that isn't necessarily as big, but uses ideas that weren't present in the first game and makes it feel even better. New kingdoms, new mechanics, new playable characters, the works. I want a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X, that being the definitive edition. New aspects of the story that greater connect all the games, redefine and enhance the art direction to make it more consistent with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torna. I want progression to be faster and quest structure to be redone. I feel doing these things could do a lot for this game. I want to see a new Donkey Kong. I'd love to have another 2D game even better than Tropical Freeze, but I feel it's time Nintendo take a crack at a new 3D one instead. They've learned a lot since Donkey Kong 64, and the biggest problems with that game were minor issues that caused big problems, but even modders were able to remedy those issues, so if they just slightly tweak the philosophy, we'll be golden for modern 3D Donkey Kong games. I want Wario Land because why not? Those games are fun and I won't be told otherwise. With Metroid Prime 4 coming to the Switch, I think those who missed out on the other games should be able to play the trilogy on Switch. All they gotta do is make it HD. Though some had problems with 2 and 3, I can't specify what those problems are because I haven't played those. WarioWare because yes, I need another one and we still don't have one on Switch, okay? I really want to see Monolith Soft's new IP or Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I don't know what else to expect for the new IP, but I'd like it to be as high quality as their other games they've made. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, need I say more? Well then, I need more awesome story, more epic gameplay, the best pro tag so far, everything. I also want a full-out virtual console, everything the Wii, Wii U, and new 3DS offered, but add the GameCube to that list as well. I also want things like Mother 3 added to it. Yeah, I want a physical release for that game, but I'll take what I can get at this point. But okay, now with those out of the way, let's get back to the big boys. Breath of the Wild 2, we need to see this. After being shown it back in 2019, we've seen literally nothing else since then. I think seeing this game now with a trailer even more impactful than Breath of the Wild 1's release date trailer would make life worth seeing through to the end. Again, I won't go fully in depth with what I want from this as I have numerous Breath of the Wild 2 videos in the works that all have a bunch of ideas split up amongst them, but I wanted to follow up on Breath of the Wild 1's story, however this time in a Majora's Mask route in terms of designs, specifically with how it chose to execute itself after Ocarina of Time. I want to keep the open world of course, but I want more aspects of it to be uncovered, mainly which covers underneath Hyrule and what lurks there. It's already said to be darker than how Majora's Mask was, so I need this to be true as the creepy vibe and despair was what made all the characters in that game so captivating. Seeing how their mindset was when put in this horrible scenario was genuinely fun to see, as terrible as that sounds. I want traditional dungeons and key items brought back, using the type of interactivity with the world from Breath of the Wild with the whimsicality of the series past. Using dual hookshots in Breath of the Wild would be epic, alongside new kinds of magic. But now, for the final hope, this is kind of cheating, but I don't expect this at E3. I expect it before E3. I'm talking about the new Nintendo Switch Pro. I think it being console only would work perfectly. Some say that goes against the concept of it being a Switch, but my response to that is, do you think Nintendo cares? They made a Switch Lite. Why is it called a Switch if it doesn't switch? Exactly my point. A Switch that's console only and can output 4K 60 FPS will be a dream come true. But even more than that, I just want to see some of the older games be updated for compatibility's sake. I want to see Breath of the Wild 1 in 60 FPS. I want to see Odyssey in 4K. I want to see Xenoblade clear as day in 4K and 60 FPS, doing the game absolute justice. With it, I want that full-out virtual console I mentioned, which will come with the OG Switch too. But going back a bit, the reason I think it'll be announced before the event is because 1, pressure from the leaks that keep coming out, especially with how legit they are with actual Amazon web pages that even I myself was able to get on. And 2, Nintendo knows how old the Switch is getting, and with the Series X and PS5 starting to show up more and more, a new generation of gaming is being unveiled. I think they'll want a piece of that pie. So showing it off before the event leaves more time to just show games for the original and Switch Pro. No time needed to explain the console, people know exactly what they need to save for and can be fully hyped for whatever games are shown. I was sure about this when I saw Nintendo's tweet specifying that they're focusing solely on showing software. This execution makes sense from a business standpoint, so I believe I'm right in this case. Also, Nintendo, despite always being graphically behind, at least for the past decade or two, still tends to steal the show because of the weight these IPs have. So finally getting to see these IPs looking as good as the competition, that's no contest. But yeah, this is all I think is going to show up at E3 and of course before E3. It's a tough time for people, but I get the feeling we have big reasons to be hyped this year. What do you hope to expect? What are your thoughts on my expectations? Try not to hurt my feelings, I am a crier. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to let me know by liking the video and subscribing for more Sonic, Nintendo, and overall gaming goodness. Thanks for watching, my name is KingdomAce, and remember my warriors of courage to stay strong, stay beautiful, and always look skyward.